Chapter 2, Lesson 3. Our learning objective is you will multiply fractions and use the greatest common factor to write the products in simplest form. So we're multiplying fractions. Our essential question, so the question you should be able to answer by the end of this lesson, is how do you multiply fractions? Let's look at Unlock the Problem. Sasha still has 4/5 of a scarf left to knit. If she finishes 1/2 of the remaining part of the scarf today, how much of the scarf will Sasha knit today? So when we look at this word problem, it says if she finishes 1/2 of the remaining part, that of tells me I need to multiply. So we're going to multiply 1/2 by 4/5. And then we're going to write the product in simplest form, okay? From now on, you should probably be writing all of your fractions in simplest form. And so first, we're just going to multiply the numerators. Just multiply across the top. So I'm going to take 1 times 4. 1 times 4 is going to equal 4. Then I'm going to look right here, and I'm going to take 2 times 5, which is 10. 4/10 is not in simplest form. So now I'm going to simplify using the greatest common factor. The greatest common factor of 4 and 10 is 2, which means that I'm going to take the numerator and the denominator and divide them both by 2, since that's my greatest common factor. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So 1/2 times 4/5 is going to equal 2/5. So Sasha will knit 2/5 of the scarf today. Remember, you can find the product of two fractions by multiplying the numerators and multiplying the denominators. So again, you just multiply across. Example 1. Multiply 1 1/4 by 1 2/3. Write the product in simplest form. So we're going to estimate this really quick. 1 1/4 is pretty close to 1. 1 2/3 is pretty close to 2. So we're going to estimate 1 times 2, which is 2. Now we're going to have to write the mixed numbers as fractions greater than 1. So if I have 1 1/4, what you're going to do is you're going to take 4 times 1, and then you're going to add 1 and leave it over the denominator. So 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So that's going to equal 5/4. And then for this one, I'm going to take 3 times 1, which is 3, plus 2, which is 5. So it turns into 5/3. And now that I have 4/5 and 5/3, I'm going to multiply across. So 5 times 5 is 25. 4 times 3 is 12. 25/12 can be simplified down, so we need to write it as a mixed number. So 12 goes into 25 2 times, which is 24. 25 minus 24 is 1. So I have 1 out of those 12 left. Remember, if you need to write that out as a division problem, you can, and the remainder is what you would put over the denominator. So since the estimate is 2, the answer is reasonable. So 1 1/4 times 1 2/3 equals 25/12 or 1 1/12. Or not 1, 2. 2 1/12. All right, let's look at example 2. It says evaluate 4/5 plus 6 times 3/8 using the order of operations. So the first thing we're going to do is estimate using benchmarks. 4/5 is close to 1, plus 6 times 1/2, which is going to equal 6 times 1/2 is the same thing as 6 divided by 2. So that's 3. So 1 plus 3 is 4. So my estimate is going to be 4. Now I'm going to use the order of operations. When I'm taking a whole number multiplied by a fraction, I'm going to put that whole number over 1 because 6 over 1 is equal to 6. Those are equivalent fractions. So then I can multiply across. So I've got 6 times 3 which is 18, and 1 times 8, which is 8. Now that takes care of my parentheses. Now I can just add, so 4/5 plus 18/8. Well, in order to do that, I need to get a common denominator, so I need to write equivalent fractions. So if I take 4 times 8 and 5 times 8, and then I do the opposite over here, then I'm going to get an equivalent one. So then I'm going to take 18 times 5 and 8 times 5 to get that, to get both fractions with the denominator 40, because 5 times 8 is 40, 4 times 8 is 32, so now I have 32/40 plus 8 times 5, because again I have to get to 40. These both have to be the same down here. And then 18 times 5 is 122. So then we have common denominators. Sorry, it is not 90, or it is not 122. 18 times 5 is 90. Okay, now 90 plus 32, we add them across, is 122. We do not add our denominators together. We leave it as that common denominator, so we have 40. So now we need to simplify. We're on step 4 now. Simplify using the greatest common factor. Those are both even, so I know that I can divide them by 2. So 122 divided by 2 and 40 divided by 2, which gives us, I'm not going to erase all this and scroll down. So just this is what you have written under down here. Okay, so 122 divided by 2 gave me 61, and 40 divided by 2 is 20. But now I can simplify it into a mixed number. 20 goes into 61 3 times, which is 60, which leaves me 1 out of the 20th left. So since the estimate is 4, the answer is reasonable. So 4/5 plus 6 times 3/8 equals 61/20 or 3 1/20.